Welcome to the Golf Report podcast. Today I'm joined by professional golfer Delaney Shah. Delaney is a professional golfer on the WAPT Tour, the Women's All Pro Tour, and she's from North Potomac, Maryland, and she played college golf at Louisville. Delaney, thank you for joining me. How are you doing?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really happy to be here.
Yes, we were just talking. You're in Florida now. Just tell me, how has your off season been, and what have you been doing, in the off season to get ready for the upcoming WAPT season in about a month and a half?
Yeah, it's been a crazy last year and a half, which we'll get into. But so I'm taking these 3 months to really get ready for this season. Lots of just short game practice, hitting on grass. Being from Maryland, there's a bunch of snow on the ground right now, so it's nice to actually hit off grass. And a lot of just working out, strengthening PT, a lot of physical therapy for my leg and my body just in general. And then playing a few times, seeing how it is on the golf course, and then I'll get ready to start first event first week of April.
Nice. So yeah, just tell me you're going to be playing on the WAPT tour this season. So just tell me, what do you see for yourself, or what do you expect, going into the 2024, WAPT season?
Yeah, it's a very quick start to the season. We go three straight events, 1 week off, and then three more straight events. So it's basically 6 out of 7 weeks, which is really throwing you right into the season, which will be a very fun time, but also very interesting to see just how the body not playing for almost 18 months competitively will hold up for those 6 weeks. And then kind of tapers off into more like the 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, which will be good. But just kind of seeing how the golf game, how the body, everything kind of holds up the first few events, and kind of reevaluate and get a good game plan going for the rest of the season.
Nice. Now we've done a little introduction of yourself, so now let's get into your start in the game of golf. So you grew up in North Potomac, Maryland. So tell me about, what was it like growing up in Maryland, and how did you get started playing golf?
Yeah, so in Maryland, there's not many girls that play golf to begin with. And it being cold, golf is just not a very popular sport in general. I started on my 8th birthday. My dad used to take me to a driving range just to watch him hit. I actually never would hit. And on my birthday, he was like, "What do you want to do?" And I was like, "Let's just go to the driving range. It'll be fun." And we actually ended up running into a buddy that he went to high school with, and he was a golf coach, and so made the connection there. And I started taking lessons, and I was like, "Oh, I'm actually pretty good at this." So I kind of just stuck with it. um, didn't start playing tournaments till I was like 10 or 11. But I kind of knew this was like what I wanted to do. I quit playing all other sports pretty young, which I do regret a little bit in the end, but I became a one sport athlete and really focused on golf. And it's taken me really cool places.
Nice. So you mentioned you started playing golf on your 8th birthday. So yeah, just tell me, what was it like to start playing golf on your 8th birthday?
It's really cool because now every year that it comes around, like my birthday comes around, it's like the anniversary of when I started playing golf. And usually, if I'm home, my dad and I will like do something, either go to the driving range again or go play golf. And then when I'm not at home, he'll at least like send, some old golf pictures of us together, being like, "Wish we could at least be doing this in person." But it's something that really bonded us together too. So something we have in common.
Nice. So yeah, what are some early golfing memories you have, or what are some early golfing memories, you remember from, growing up, playing golf in Maryland?
Yeah, I think the earliest memory I have is like that first tournament I ever played in. It was at a local public golf course not too far from us, and I remember my dad was caddying. My brother was just like younger brother was just like walking down the fairway. It was a very chill environment for 10-year-olds girls golf. And a lot of my dad's like family friends came out and helped watch, and I don't remember playing well at all. But I do just remember like the atmosphere of playing tournament golf and being like, "This is very cool." And girls were coming in from all different states to play too, so that was really cool meeting other girls that played, because I didn't know anybody at that time my age that played golf around here. So meeting people and making those connections was really cool. Yeah.
Nice. So even as a junior, you've had a lot of success in golf. You've qualified for two USGA Junior Girls Championships, a USGA State Team Championship, and USGA Four-Ball Championship. What was it like to qualify for those championships? What was it like to play in some USGA championships? Growing up as a
Yeah,
junior.
the state team is a very cool event that they actually stopped running a few years ago, which I was very bummed about. But that was really cool to represent my state with two other girls and go. We went to play in Missouri, and it was really cool to just be able to represent your home state and play a USGA event. The USGA four-ball, I qualified with the girl I actually played the U.S. State team with. And you qualify in September and the tournament is in May. So when we qualified, I was like, great, sounds awesome. Like, can't wait to go. Turns out it was over my prom, which was a very big bummer, but I was not about to let my teammate down. And so I skipped the prom and I
Okay.
went to play the USGA four-ball, which was a very cool experience in itself, probably better than a senior prom anyway. And then the U.S. Junior Girls was very cool. I went to Flagstaff and Tulsa, Oklahoma. I remember qualifying for both of those. One was in the absolute pouring rain. And then the other one, my mom was with me at both. And it kind of came down close in the end to the second time I qualified. And so that was really cool to experience it with her. She traveled with me to all the summer events. So getting to go to Arizona, I'd never been before. We went and saw the Grand Canyon and all that. And those playing on that big of a stage was very cool because you're meeting girls, especially at US Junior Girls, that are roughly your age, but from all over the place. And I ended up playing college golf with or against a lot of them eventually anyway. So getting that first kind of meeting and building that relationship was really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Making friends and making memories. That's really awesome
Yeah,
about junior golf.
absolutely.
So I want to talk more about the 2015 USGA Women's State Team Championship. Obviously you're not playing for just yourself, you're playing for, your state, representing more
Yeah,
than yourself. So, how special was it to represent your home state of Maryland in this, 2015, state team championship?
it's really cool because I had played high school golf at that point, but I was on a team of all boys.
Okay.
So being on a team of all girls was like a view into what college would be like. Playing just not for you, but for a team. It was bigger than just me. But getting to have that camaraderie, the traveling there and back together, staying in the hotel together, doing practice rounds, like all of that stuff was really cool. And just like an honor to represent, your home state. Like I know a lot of people aspire to like represent their country in like the Olympics or the World Games or anything like that. And just to be able to do it on a state level is also a really cool achievement that I will forever remember. And Maryland, representing that flag was just
Nice. That's awesome. Probably
yeah.
a great experience for you. So something else that was pretty cool is you won the 2016 Dustin Johnson World Junior Golf Championship, after overcoming a nine-stroke deficit. So just,
Mm-hmm.
tell me about this, championship, what was it like to, not only win this championship, but, win it after, being down nine strokes?
Yeah, it's a funny story actually. So it was my senior year of college or high school, and it was in February, and we had just gotten a blizzard of 3 feet of snow, and I hadn't practiced for like 2 weeks going into this tournament. I was like, you know what, we're just gonna go down and like kind of just see where the golf game is at to get ready for the spring and summer. And I remember getting down there and it was going terrible. Just first time hitting off grass in months, putting, like everything was just kind of knocking the rust off. And after the first day, I remember my dad being like, I think I shot really high in the 80s. I don't remember the exact number, but I remember my dad going like, we can just withdraw and go home if you want. Like, I know you weren't prepared for this. We really didn't have time to like get down here and practice. And I was like, you know what? No, like I just kind of want to see where it goes. Like, can't really get much worse. Want to keep staying down here. And I remember the first day it was like super windy. The second day was super cold. And then the third day I ended up shooting even and it was pouring down rain, like just miserable conditions. And I was like, you know what? Like this is where I thrive. Like I play really good golf in the rain. I think I just kind of embraced it. And I remember coming down 15, 16, the scorer in my group was like talking to my dad, kind of like hush hush, showing him his phone and whatnot. And I'm like, you wouldn't be doing that unless I was maybe like close to the lead or close to the top or making a big comeback. And so I remember starting to get a little suspicious at that point. And then on 18, I remember having a 5-footer for par and just being like, I have to make this. Like, I didn't know what it was for, but I knew it was probably important and I made it. And then just my dad coming up and giving me a huge hug. Like, I still at this point had no idea what had happened. I just had kind of a feeling. And yeah, I came back from 9 shots to win that tournament, which was crazy considering 2 days before that I was considering just leaving and going home.
Nice.
So yeah, very cool to win the very first one too. So it was his inaugural event, and I still have that like a little plaque up at their golf course and a flag and all that stuff. So it's a really cool honor to just win it, but to be the first one to win it too after making that big comeback.
Nice. I think the best thing that I took away from that, story is not only did you win the championship and you came back from a 9-stroke deficit, but I really like, how you persevered, after a tough start to the tournament. I think that, it shows a lot about, your toughness and, how you
Oh
stick
yeah,
to it.
absolutely. Never giving up because you never know what can
Yeah.
happen. I mean, I didn't know what the weather was going to be like that day. And I mean, I just was like, you know what? I just want to stick it out, see what I can do. And worked in my favor in the end, which was
Nice.
nice.
So we talked about your junior career, and I want to touch, briefly on your high school career. So you won 2 team state championships in high school, and you also won 2 individual state championships. So just tell me about your high school career and, how special it was to win these, state championships in high school.
Yeah, it was really cool. So this was really the first time I got to compete against the other girls in the state at the high school level. And so my freshman and sophomore year, I actually was runner up individually, but won the state tournament. And we were actually at my high school hadn't qualified for the state championship in over 30 years before that year. And we ended up winning by over 20 shots with 3 girls and a boy on our
Oh,
team.
wow.
So that was very cool, like history making moment for us.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And then my sophomore year ended up becoming runner up again individually, but we won it again as a team. I think with 2 girls and 2 boys that year, 1 girl and 3 boys. I can't remember, but so to do it back to back was just really cool to validate. Like, oh, it wasn't a fluke. Like we really deserved this win. And then my junior and senior year, my team came up runner up both years, and I won individually. And I remember my junior year, I came back again from, I think I was like 5 strokes back after the first day, and I ended up coming back and winning it on the second day. So that was really cool to experience that. Being again that far behind, you never know what can happen, and just kind of seeing where things go. And then my senior year, ended up winning, and all 4 years, both my mom and my dad were there. So that was very cool to share those experiences with them on the 18th green. Like just to be a state champion, let alone a 4-time state champion in your home state, is just a
Mhm.
very cool honor.
Nice. Yeah, so after your successful junior and high school careers, growing up in Maryland, you then attended Louisville for college. So, what drew you to Louisville, and were there any other schools you were looking at attending, or from the get-go, were you pretty set on attending Louisville?
So I actually had to Google where Louisville was when I got
Okay.
recruited because I'd never heard of them before. And I was always had my heart set on like UNC because growing up East Coast, all you know is East Coast schools. It's Maryland, it's Duke, it's UNC, it's all those kinds of schools.
Mhm.
And I had a few friends that went to UNC and played golf there. I had gone down to their college tournament every year and watched them compete. And so I kind of had my heart set on UNC. And my dad's like, you know what? We're just gonna go on this visit to Louisville. Like, this will be a good chance for you to see what you don't like in a school. Okay, fair enough. Like, let's just go. And I remember getting on the plane, leaving, and my dad's like, all right, like, give it to me. What did you not like about it? And I said, the school's in Kentucky. Like, it just was such a random state to me. Who goes to Kentucky? Like, that was horse country to me. And he was like, okay, what else? And I go, that's it. That's the only bad thing I could find about that school. And I actually ended up, in the end, my last 3 schools were University of South Carolina, UNC Chapel Hill, and Louisville. And I ended up choosing Louisville. And the biggest reason of what drew me there is one, the practice facilities were just amazing. Like I wanted a big school with a big athletic program overall. And it definitely got that at Louisville. But I really felt like the coach cared about me, not as just like another player on her team, but as a person. She wanted to help me grow outside of golf too. And it wasn't just what can you do for me and my team. I really kind of was drawn to, and I think I made the right choice in the end. I absolutely loved Louisville, and I still live there half the year now, so I can't leave.
Nice. That's a really incredible story how, growing up, your dream school was UNC and UNC was one of your final three schools, but, ultimately you chose Louisville. So that's pretty, it
Yeah,
definitely worked out. And it definitely seems like you enjoyed your time at Louisville and, you ended up making the right decision. So that's awesome that it all worked
absolutely.
out
I
for you.
always tell girls like, even if you don't think you want to go to a school, go on a visit. Because I'm like, you can find things you don't like in the school that you can learn from when you are looking for your dream school. But you also never know. A school can really surprise you.
Nice.
Um, and so that's my little story about it.
Nice. So at Louisville, you got to play in a national championship. So yeah, how were your 4 years at Louisville, getting to represent the Cardinal?
It was very up and down. I will be very honest. I coming from Maryland, I was a very big fish in a small pond, and I didn't. I mean, playing in some USGA events kind of showed me, oh, there's a lot of good golfers out there, but you don't really realize it until you go play at an ACC school where everyone is good, and you now become a small fish in a very large pond. So going in freshman year, I played a few events in the fall, and then I actually in the spring ended up getting hurt. I was in a boot for 6 weeks, and then the week I got out of the boot, I got a stress fracture on my back. So I was out all spring semester, which kind of set me back. Sophomore year, I didn't see the lineup actually until the ACC tournament in April.
Okay.
I was close. I was just the sixth person every time, basically. Didn't see the lineup. Finally did at ACCs, and I took my shot at it, took the advantage, and at regionals, played really, really well. I finished top 10 in regionals, and that helped my team qualify to the national championship. So that was a little bit of validation of, okay, my hard work has finally played off, not playing all year, but when the time came, I was able to step up and help my team when they needed me. Um, and yeah, going to play the national championship was just such a surreal moment. Again, everyone dreams of it growing up when you're playing golf, like, oh, I want to be representing my team in the national championship, and it actually came true. And when we were there, we actually had a really bumpy roller coaster road at nationals because we played the 3 days. We thought we were out of it to like, because it's like 3 days of stroke play, cut, fourth day of stroke play, and then they cut for the match play. And we thought we were out of it after the third round, and we had an early morning tee time. So my coach was like, you know what? We're going to go to the movies. We're going to put our phones away. Like, she had scheduled flights out for the next day. Like, we were set to go home. And we get out of the movie, and I sneak a look at my phone, and I go, Coach, we're above the cut line right now. And she's like, what? Like, there's no way. And I'm like, yeah, we're like, our name is on 15th place right now. Like, we're in the cut. And so we spent the next hour just trying to scramble out, figure like, are we in? Are we not in? The phone lines go down at the golf course. So we don't know because we're in a tie right now and no one knows how the tiebreaker is settled. Do we have to go back and play? Is it a scorecard playoff? This, that, whatever. But we also can't communicate with anybody because the phone lines go down. So we're just sitting in her room in the hotel being like, do we need to go pack or are we playing tomorrow? Like our poor senior had like gone through her emotions of like, my college career is done. We had celebrated her and this, that, whatever. Well, turns out we made it to the fourth day, so we ended up getting to play another day, which was
Oh,
very
nice.
cool to be able to come back after we thought again we were out of it. Kind of a reoccurring story in my life. But coming back and getting to play one final round was very cool. So yeah, it was a very, very awesome experience, and I wish I could have done it again. But it was very cool, at least experience.
Nice. That's awesome. It sounds sounds like you really enjoyed your time at Louisville, so that's awesome. And
I loved it. Yeah.
yeah, glad that you enjoyed your college golf experience. So yeah, I want to talk more about your success in Maryland. So,
Mhm.
you won the 97th Maryland Women's Amateur Championship in 2018, and then you also won the 2020 Maryland Women's Stroke Play. So,
Mhm.
winning these tournaments, how special is it to, have had so much success in your home state of Maryland?
Yeah, it was very cool. The women's am was at one of my favorite golf courses, and I had played really well. I won the stroke play portion of it, which seated me really high, and I was just kept winning my matches. And I remember on the last day of my final like championship match, because I had lost in it the year before in the championship match, and I was like, this is not happening again. And so I think I ended up winning 3-2 and like making again. I had like a 5-foot slider to win, and I was like, this has to go in. Like this is where it ends. And so I made it, and my mom was there celebrating with me, and so that was a very cool experience. And then in 2020, of course, COVID had just hit. We didn't know if we were gonna end up playing or not. They let us play. Like we knew like 2 weeks before that we were gonna be able to play. So got there, won the stroke play part, and ended up losing in match play to I think in the second round to the girl that ended up winning. But to have that success again in my home state is just a very cool honor to have, and the resume builder that I kind of needed going into after 2020, going to professional golf. Like that was a really needed win for me, I think, to validate turning professional.
Nice. So this past year, 2023 Maryland Women's Open, obviously you'd like to win, but you finished runner up to, Annika Sayu Manitofa, who, played very well, I believe it was like 7 under or something that week. But
Yeah,
tell me about your experience playing, the 2023 Maryland Women's Open. Then also
yeah.
Annika, she's also, a great young player from Maryland. So are you, friends with her or close with her at all? Or, just tell me if, you have a relationship with Annika.
Yeah, so actually, Annika is the girl that I qualified for the state team with, and she was
Okay.
my partner in USGA Four-Ball. So when she moved from Hawaii to Maryland, I was the very first person she ever met. We played
Okay.
at the Maryland Junior Girls together, and yeah, we became really good friends, and obviously had some success together as teammates. And then stayed in touch with her through college, and actually just had lunch with her like 2 days before I left to come down here. So we're still really good friends. And losing to her, like she deserved it. She played so well. As much as I would have loved to win, like if I had to lose to anyone, I'm happy it was her, because this was her first professional win too, and I know how much it meant to her to win it in Maryland. So it was really fun. I will say again, it was a roller coaster of a tournament that I didn't know if I was going to be able to play in it or not. Coming off the knee surgery, I still didn't know if I was totally prepared for it. But then we got carts in the event, so I was like, okay, you know what? Like I don't gotta walk. We're gonna give it a shot. And I was first swing of my warm up, first day, I was getting shooting pains in my like ribs, chest area, and I was like, oh, that's good. But you know what? We're just gonna see how it goes. Play with it. Played pretty well. Next morning, it was 10 times worse. And I had a noon tea time. I was actually in urgent care from 9 to 11 that morning, making
Oh, wow.
sure everything was okay with my chest, my heart. And it was really funny because the guy comes back and he's like, yeah, we want to do some other like tests just to make sure. And I'm like, am I in immediate danger? And he was like, no, you're totally fine. And I was like, great. I have a tea time in less than an hour. Like, I need to go. And he just looked at me super bizarre. And I was like, play professional golf. I'm in this tournament. I'm in like the last, like second to last group. Like, and so I ended up going back that night, and they're like, oh, how was your tournament? And I was like, oh, I actually came in second, like all this stuff. But it's so, again, another story of I didn't know how it was going to go, but I just, tried my best, and it ended up turning out really well. My dad was there to caddy for me, which was a super big help. Just getting around the golf course, very cool for him to finally see me play without a knee brace, not in that much pain, and just very cool to share that experience with him. Yeah.
Nice. So yeah, we'll just get into it. Like you were just describing, you've dealt with your, fair share of injuries. So, you've gone through, wrist, and knee surgeries. So, just tell me about, going through wrist and knee surgeries, what these surgeries, taught you. And, also tell me, what did you learn from going through these injuries?
Yeah. So the wrist surgery happened when November of 2021.
Okay.
That whole season, I had just been getting shooting pains in my wrist when I was hitting balls, and so kind of stuck it out through this. I only played 4 or 5 events in the summer. Ended up getting a cortisone shot to get me through Q school, and then after Q school, I just knew I needed to address the issue. So ended up they cut a nerve and some tissue in my wrist. I took 2 months off and I was back playing by January, February of 2022. So it wasn't a super terrible recovery. Honestly, it was probably a blessing in disguise because it forced me to take time off that I knew I needed, but being stubborn, I wasn't going to take any time off. So it was a good mental and physical break for me. And I ended up playing really, really well in 2022. So probably for the best. And then the knee surgery is a long time coming. I have worn a knee brace since I was 13 years old. I originally stepped in a ditch and it bent backwards and I partially tore my ACL.
Okay.
And then
Well,
I learned that I had a hole in my cartilage behind my kneecap that was causing a lot of grinding and kind of popping and clicking in my leg. And it's common in people 55 and older, they just do total knee replacement. But being 24, I couldn't do that. So they ended up having to go in, clean it out, fill it with a synthetic fluid, anchor it to my bone. And the first 6 weeks, I was in a straight brace, so I could not bend my knee at all. And then was in a brace from hip to ankle for 3 months. Couldn't drive, couldn't walk till month probably two. So that was the big surgery that I'm still dealing with today. When you don't walk for that long and you can't use your leg, you lose all muscle and mobility. So really trying to just be able to get back into it. Lots of PT, a lot of stretching. I didn't swing a golf club until month 7. So I took 7 months off of golf, which is way longer than I wish I could have. But again, much needed. I think was really good for me in the long run, mentally and physically. Ended up playing in Q school, mostly because we got a cart, because walking is definitely harder than actually swinging a golf club. Being my right leg, I actually lucked out. It's a easier recovery than if it were my left leg. So was able to play Q school, and that's why I played the Maryland Open too, getting a cart. So right now, golf is fine. I don't have to wear a brace anymore, which is amazing. The permanent tan line is finally starting to fade. But squatting to read putts, can't do that. Up and down stairs, still tough. So day-to-day stuff, still working on it. But like I said, golf is a lot easier without it. So hopefully the surgery is working in the end, but it's a 1.5 year recovery. So I got a few more months to know if fully healed or not.
well, I hope you go well with your recovery, and I hope that,
Thank you.
this year you are injury and pain free. I
Yeah.
guess I can say I kind of, know what you're going through in 2020. I tore my tib and fib in my left leg, but yeah, just riding a bike. But
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, I'm all good. But it's kind
Still
of
though,
been,
any injury
yeah,
to an athlete is one, is just mentally
mhm,
tough to
yeah,
comprehend that and kind of get through it, because we're always go, 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 and taking time off is not in our DNA. But I will say the biggest thing that I learned is just to be grateful of every opportunity that I get now. Like, I think that was a big reason why I played so well in 2022 is I remember walking down the fairways, like second day, cut in sight, being like, I'm just grateful to be here. I didn't know if I was going to be able to play. I'm lucky I get this opportunity to still be out here. Like, and I think changing my mindset instead of I have to make this cut to make, or I have to make this putt to make the cut and make some money. Like, that's just so much extra pressure. And I was just truly grateful just to have the opportunity to be still playing professional golf. So hopefully that works out with the leg too. And like I said, going into basically 6 weeks out of 7 to start the season is going to be a really big test to see how my body holds up. Just walking all those holes and lugging my bag and playing and all that. So fingers crossed for the season.
Nice. Well, I'll be rooting for you to have, good health this year and going forward.
Yeah, that's been my Achilles heel lately is all the injuries. So
Yeah,
a
because you've
season
been going
without
through
any would be
definitely
very
gone
good.
through way too many injuries, so definitely,
Yeah,
hopefully, that'll all go well going forward.
appreciate it.
So we'll get back into golf. You got to play in the 2018 British Women's Amateur in Ireland. So, how was your experience, not only playing in this, championship, but also, just getting to play, golf in Ireland? That was probably pretty cool.
Yeah, it was very cool. So we ended up going out as a team for a week, just getting to travel all around Ireland. We One of our teammates was from Ireland, so her and her family like took us to all the cool places, played golf with our coaches and all that. And so that was really cool. And then just the team stayed. We went to Northern Ireland, and 5 of us had gotten into the British Am, and then the other girls had caddied for us. So that was just a really cool experience to be able to experience it with your teammates, let alone being in a foreign country with like the coolest sights you could imagine. And we got to sprinkle in some fun in there, which was cool too. We did the Game of Thrones thing, we did the
Nice.
Titanic and stuff like that. So that was just to experience Ireland as a whole, let alone just the golf. Like that's one of every golfer's dreams. I feel like is to go to Ireland and play golf. So to knock that off the bucket list was really cool. I will say we have really lucked out with the weather there. It was obviously very windy, but we only got rain 2 of the 14, 15 days we were there. So don't feel like I truly experienced all Ireland has to offer weather-wise, but just to one get into that tournament was a really big move because not very many people can get into that. So having played really well that year in nationals, winning the AM and all that stuff had really helped my ranking go that I could get into the tournament. So I just took it all in and all the sights and my caddy. I was just like, how cool is this? Like we get to play here, just experience all of this together as a team. Like it was awesome.
Nice. Glad you got into the tournament and got to, play golf in Ireland in that
Yeah,
championship. It was probably an amazing experience.
it was
Um,
it was very cool.
nice. So you've been a professional golfer since October 2020. So yeah, how special was it when you turned professional in October 2020?
So yeah, going back, I had always known that I wanted my first professional event to be in my home state.
Okay.
So I waited till the Maryland Open to turn pro, so
Wow.
I could play my first event at Baltimore Country Club as a professional. And still during COVID, like they canceled Q school that year, so I didn't know what exactly my plan was gonna be. But when I got the email in September saying they were still gonna host the event, I knew that this was my time to turn pro and to do it. My dad got to be there for my first professional event, and obviously a lot of nerves. Like I've played that tournament how many times, but just because there's a P next to my name instead of an A, like I got very nervous. Didn't play obviously as great as I would have wanted, but just a very cool experience for me, but also all the people that work there have known me since I was like 12. And so to have that full circle moment of me turning professional, them seeing the progress that I had made since I played my first Maryland State event, uh, like almost 10 years before that, was just a very cool experience for me. And I'm very glad I waited to have that be my first.
Nice. It's cool to hear not only, you turned professional, but it's cool to hear, how proud you are to be from Maryland.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you've been playing on the WAPT tour since 2021. So, just tell me, what has it been like, being a professional golfer and getting to play on the WAPT tour since 2021?
Yeah, it's been awesome. Like I said, so the first 2021, I only got to play like 4 events because of my wrist.
Okay.
2022, I think I played 12 events, and then 2023, I had to take off. So I haven't fully gotten all the experiences I think out of it, but I have absolutely loved playing on WAPT. I've made such good friends out of it, lifelong connections. Even like the housing, like the host families that I stay with, I still stay in touch with, even if I'm not going there. I think WAPT is a very good tour for girls trying to get into playing professional golf that don't have as good a status as we all would like. And I think it's just such an awesome experience because we're all in on basically the same boat. We're all going through the same things. We're all playing at the same levels, and um, week after week, seeing the same people, you start to develop those relationships that I feel like are life bonding because you're going through moments together.
So yeah, you're a professional golfer, on the WAPT tour. So what do you enjoy most about being a professional golfer? And what's the most difficult aspect about being a professional golfer?
I would say the thing I love the most is getting to travel all over and play different courses in different areas and experience different places. But also the friends that you make and the people that you meet. Like I said, these girls, some of them I have known since I played junior golf. And so going through the highs and lows of the last 10, 15 years together has just been really cool to see how much progress we really have made. Um, the host families, meeting them and hearing their stories and their support. It's just been really cool to meet new people and travel. I would say the hardest thing is one, not having a stable income. I work a job in Louisville when I'm not traveling,
Okay.
just to help me out a little bit, but um, having no stable income and playing week after week, spending a lot of money but not making much in return is definitely difficult mentally and financially. And also too, it's hard on your body week after week, walking every day, 18 holes, 5, 6 days a week, practicing before and after, going to social events, and it's very, very physically demanding. So that's another big, I wouldn't say it's a downside, but it's definitely something people don't realize until they're in the full swing of
So yeah, we just talked about it a little bit, but you're friends with Annika, in Maryland, but out on the WAPT tour, do you have any friends or, anyone who you're close with? Like, in tournaments, do you room with anyone or do you stay with anyone out there? Just tell me,
this. Yeah, I have a big
do you have
group
any
of girls
friends?
actually that have adopted me into their little family. And we try to spend every week in host housing with at least one other girl. I travel a bunch with my old teammates from college who are trying to play golf too. And like I said, I travel with some girls that I've known since I was 12. So it's been very cool. This year I'm going to be traveling with Hannah Arnold for most of the season.
Yeah, I've,
So
I've
that'll be
interviewed her.
really, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. She knows everybody, so I
Okay.
will be well taken care of
Mhm.
in that department. But um, there's a bunch of girls that I mean, there's a few now that I still practice with out here in Florida, and we'll go have dinner with them and stuff like that. So, lots of friends. I think I'm a pretty social person. So I get to try to meet everyone if I can.
Nice. That's awesome that, not only are they your competitors, on the WAPT tour, but you're also friends with them, so that's awesome.
I think
So
that's very big is being putting golf aside. Yeah, you want to be competitive, but you need that foundation of support and love, and we're all going through the same thing. So being able to put that side out of it and still come back to the house and everyone's cheering for you, everyone's rooting for you, everyone wants you to do well. Like the positivity is very needed mentally because it can be really, really hard and you can get down on yourself very easily. So surrounding yourself with good people is definitely a plus.
Yeah, that's good. It's considering, on the WAPT tour, every week out there, you guys are, playing for your careers and all that. So that's great. I have two more questions. So you play in the LPGA Q School each year. So, describe what it's like, playing in the LPGA Q School each year. It's in August in California in the heat, multiple rounds. So that's very difficult just in general, not only just playing in Q School, but just in general. That's difficult. So, just describe, playing in LPGA Q School.
Yeah, so again, being from Maryland, I don't do heat very well. I like the cold.
Yeah.
So going out there is very big adjustment. It is like 120 degrees of dry heat, and you just feel like you're absolutely baking. So it is not my favorite place in the world, but I have learned to embrace it. It's the most physically demanding week of your life.
Yeah.
It is mentally and physically dealing with the heat, the stress. This 1 week defines your next year of professional golf. How well you play defines your status, defines what tour you get on. And so that on top of the heat and the 7 hour days you're doing outside, it is just the most grueling thing, one of the most grueling things I have ever been through. And to add on top of it, this past Q school, I got COVID.
Okay.
So I got it during practice round. So luckily by the first tournament round, I was at least somewhat better, but I spent every waking moment not on the golf course if I didn't have to be trying to get ready to be able to play.
Yeah.
So it's such a stressful environment, but it's also like where everyone comes together. You know what I mean? Because we all know how much this means. And so we have our families there, our caddies there, but we still make time to go to dinner and kind of check in with each other just to make sure that everyone's doing okay. But like you said, it's a very expensive tournament and it's a very different environment than what we're all kind of used to. I mean, you have 350 girls in one area. It's nothing, no atmosphere is like that actually on tour. So you're not prepared for Q school until you've been there. And I still don't think I'm really prepared. And I've been there 3 times. Like I still learn something new every time I'm out there, either about me or about the tournament or about the weather. Like it's something I feel like you got to do a few times to understand it more and more and kind of get ready for it. Practicing, trying to like simulate the hot. I mean, unless you go out there, there's no way you can simulate that kind of heat. So just doing anything you can to get mentally and physically ready for a very demanding week.
Yeah, and also I think Q School's at Mission Hills in California, which hosted, major championship for many years on LPGA. So, what's it like playing a major championship course at Q School?
Yeah, it's very cool because I mean, it's a very good test of your golf game because
Yeah.
obviously like the good pros play it at the ANA. So it's one very cool because you watch the tournament on TV and then you are hitting the same shots they are. But it also I feel like really shows how your golf game can compete with that kind of level eventually. I mean, no, we don't play like the exact same tees. The greens aren't the exact same speeds and whatnot. And they're not playing it in August. But it is a very cool thing to see. Like this is what a major professional event course layout is usually like. Kind of give you a glimpse into what that'll be like in the future.
Nice. So final question, what are some goals you have for your professional career? And do you have like a 5-year plan, where you see yourself with your professional golf career, in 5 years? Or are you just taking it,
Yeah,
year by year as it goes, with your career?
I think the big thing is I have to take it year by year, knowing my history medically, most likely. I never know what curveball is going to come at me next. So, as much as I would like to play golf for the rest of my life, I am kind of looking at it, and every year is a great opportunity, and I'm humbled and glad to get it. But if the day comes that I physically just can't play golf anymore, I have no regrets. I have enjoyed every single waking moment of doing this. So with that being said, for this year, my goal is one, just to enjoy being back playing. Because after 18 months of basically not competing on a season, like for a season long, I'm just excited to see where things go. I think a big goal of me is for mine is just to get through the season physically okay, and keep building that strength up and get confidence in myself that I can do it going into Q school. Um, Game wise, I would like to be a little bit more consistent around the greens. I think goals wise, I look a lot at my stats. I would like to hit a few more fairways and a few make some more up and downs. I think that's where I lose the most shots in the past. So that is a very big goal of mine this year, is just to kind of tighten that up a little bit and get those stats a little better. 5 years from now, I would obviously love to be playing on the LPGA, work my way up and playing those big events with the major players. I do know that if the time comes that professional golf is not in my cards, I do want to get into coaching. I want to be a college coach, and I think that'd be another good opportunity for me to still be around golf, still be in it, and basically almost the same, but not have the physical aspect of playing golf, which would probably be a good transition from playing professional golf. But we'll see what the road has for me.
Nice. That's
I'm
very
I've like I said, if you have not learned anything from my story, I don't count anything out, and I expect everything that could possibly happen, and I kind of just take what I can get and I keep going.
nice. That's very interesting that you say, you're interested in getting to college coaching someday, because in what is it, 3 hours from now, I'm going to talk with Tiffany Joe. She's associate head coach at USC, and yeah,
Yeah,
she played 11 years on the LPGA tour, and now she's coach at USC in
yeah,
California. So I'm very excited to hear her story.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. I was really lucky. My senior year at college, Dory Carter was our assistant coach, and she had played like 10 years on the LPGA, and getting that knowledge from someone that has played at that level, knowing that that was my next step in life, was really cool. I mean, I picked her brain forever, just trying to figure out what it was like, what did I need to do, how do I get ready for it, and they just bring so much knowledge into the game of golf in general. So I think that'd be a really good asset to have.
Mhm.
And I know you've interviewed Lydia. Lydia was my assistant coach for a little bit, a semester in college. So
Okay.
I'm super happy for her and what she's been doing down in Houston. So
Yeah, that's what I really liked. Like Tuesday, I interviewed the UC Davis coach. Her name's Demi
yeah,
Runis, and she played a few years on the LPGA tour. So that's what I really like about doing these interviews is picking the brains of people who play at the highest level, LPGA tour for a few years, and now they've gone onto a different avenue and journey in their life, being a college coach. So that's what I really
absolutely.
like, hearing about and doing these interviews. But yeah,
Yeah, it's very big to have that golf knowledge. Is no one teaches it to you. You got
yeah.
to learn it on your own. So